The number one complaint I receive about therapy is that it's too expensive. And guys, I totally get that. Having just graduated with my master's recently, I worked an unpaid internship for a year. I'm right there with you. And there have been times, as I've been struggling through the internship process, through the licensure process, through becoming a therapist, taking on so many things that I truly thought hey, I would really benefit from therapy, but I honestly don't have the resources. I don't have the financial ability to invest in that right now. But I truly understand where you're coming from when you're like, I don't know that I can afford therapy right now. And I'm the kind of person who doesn't want to pay for something I can do for myself. I was raised in a very frugal family. And so if I can solve the problem on my own, do it myself, I'm going to do that. You might be in a similar situation where you're like, I'm going to seek out all of the free or cheap resources that I can to solve this problem on my own. I'm going to go look up YouTube videos and look, you found me. So, hey, or podcasts or psychoeducational books. I'm going to read up on the problem, find those, parenting books and everything that I can for free to solve this on my own. And yet here we are still struggling. We're still stuck. And when you think about it, we're neck deep in the problem. We are, in the system with the problem, a part of whatever the problem is. And it's like we're lacking the perspective we need to get unstuck. And one of the fabulous, greatest things about therapy is that you're going to therapy and the therapist is joining in your system. They're joining in to understand what you guys are like. So it's personalized. If you imagine being in the ocean drowning amongst your spouse or your kids, you're all, struggling to survive, and you have that therapist out on the cliff and they can see things a little bit more clearly and maybe jump in the water with you to give you some more hands-on help. But they have that bigger picture. They're that expert in relational dynamics. And so they're able to see the problem in a completely different way than you can, just because of that different vantage point that they're coming from. And they're able to join in and give you some tools and resources, but more importantly, give you experience. You read something and you know it here in your head, but you don't know it here in your heart. And that was me. I had read all the different theories. I had written so many papers, done so much research, right? I knew Bowen from structural, from narrative. I was like, oh yeah, narrative sounds really cool. And then I go to try it out with clients in front of me. And it was messy. I'm like, okay, I know here how it works, but then trying to do it interactively and it wasn't flowing like I thought it would. And it was a huge learning curve to take all these concepts, all these things I knew in my head and actually implement them and have experiences with them. And it's the same with parenting. When you're reading those books, or the same with being in a relationship, you're watching movies, you're reading books, you're watching videos, podcasts, getting that knowledge conceptually, but then when you're in it yourself, it's a completely different experience. So that is the number one reason why therapy is so helpful, is that as our heartbeat increases, as our blood pressure rises, we get hot, the logical part of our brain actually stops functioning and we can't think logically or rationally. And so even if we did study all these materials about what we should do in that moment, we're not going to be able to access that because that part of our brain is shut down. We are so overstimulated, so flooded, or so shut down that it's not even accessible in that moment. And that's what we're wanting to change. In that moment, when that part of your brain shuts down, how can you change that so that you're not shut down or so that you can interact differently? And if you're cut off from all that knowledge, you need to have experience. You need to have someone helping to intervene. And unfortunately, sometimes therapy is on the back burner. And when it becomes the front burner, that means that it's a serious problem, right? Things have gotten so bad that you can no longer ignore them. And it sucks because if you could have gone earlier, maybe you would have saved a lot of pain, a lot of heartache, a lot of ruptures from happening, but you just couldn't afford it or prioritize it at that time. And so it literally had to come to a breaking point for you to be able to get the help that you needed. And today I want to introduce to you a tool that will immediately start helping you change those interaction cycles, to help things get a little bit better, to help you get unstuck. And you're not going to like it. I'm going to be upfront with you. You're not going to like it. If it was comfortable and easy, then everyone would be doing it and we wouldn't have a need for therapy. Okay, amen, the end, let's go. Yes, it's not going to be comfortable, but let's just see if I can't convince you to do it by the end of this video. In the heat of the moment, you're arguing at home, you're stuck, you're like have the same interactions with your kids, or you have the same interactions with your spouse, you're getting sick of it, you're getting fed up, I don't know what to do, I'm lacking the insight, I'm lacking the clarity, I don't have money to go to therapy right now. What is a good first step? All the books I'm reading are useless. Film yourself. Yeah, I know there might be some legal or ethical issues there. Like I can't film someone without their consent. But perhaps this is something you can get consent about. Hey, we're fighting a lot. This crazy lady on YouTube was like, try filming your fights. And I just want to give it a try. And 2, you can audio record it so no one's being filmed, or you can just film yourself, right? You don't need to film the other person to get such valuable information. But why? Why film it? Already off the bat, just having the camera rolling, just knowing that you're being watched is already going to impact your behavior. There is a psychological phenomenon where we want to look good in front of people. What? So if you're being filmed, then you're going to be on your best behavior. And you see that happen in therapy when families come in, they're already on their best behavior because here's a stranger, this professional, they're watching me, I need to put my best foot forward. So you're going to already be on your best behavior, which is going to then change how you're talking, how you're presenting, right? And so just the fact that in that moment you're starting to argue and you know that you're filming yourself, that's going to help you from getting too emotionally dysregulated, because you're going to be self-aware. You're going to be more aware of the words you're saying, how you're coming across, just knowing that you're being watched. Whether or not anyone ever watches that film, like no one ever has to even see it. You can delete it right after. But just the fact that you know that you're being watched, you're going to be a little bit more on your best behavior. Your tone might be softer, you might be more patient, and that already is then going to influence their behavior and their response to you, as they're seeing this more softer, less aggressive side of you. And the second reason is in that heat of the moment, right? When you're not able to think logically, when you can only take in so much and you're getting shut down or you're getting overstimulated, you're not able to take in all the information. And as you go back and listen or watch that recording, you're going to start picking up on things that you weren't aware of before. You might watch and be like, wow, my body language was so tense. I looked so angry. Or my tone of voice in the moment, I was so proud of myself. Like, I'm not yelling and screaming at you. Like, I'm actually holding myself back. So like, I'm doing so good right now. Why are you, giving me crap? And then you go back and watch it and you're like, yeah, I still sounded really angry. My voice was still so tense, so tight. My answers were so short. Okay, I can see how that contributed to their response. Yeah, okay. I'm starting to see my impact on others as well as their impact on me. You're going to start picking up on other things that you couldn't have picked up on before. You're going to pick up on their body language, their tone of voice. You're going to notice if someone's cutting the other person off and never giving them a chance to fully explain. You're going to notice if someone has a pattern of stonewalling or ignoring or not responding. And you can notice if this person's not responding to me, I get more and more agitated. The more and more agitated I get, the more and more that they're quiet and withdraw, and I sense them, not emotionally present or available with me. Or you might notice, oh, as I am overstimulated in that moment and I don't know how to respond, they're getting more and more agitated. They need something from me or they want a response. And you can watch those dynamics play out and really get a sense of what's going on so that you can take a different approach next time. So the next time that you fight or argue, you have that camera rolling still so that you're a little bit more present, a little more self-aware of what's going on. And then you can try some things. Try relaxing your posture, really try softening that tone, really bring awareness. Hey, I am feeling really overstimulated right now, and I notice that my tone is getting a little on edge, and I'm really sorry about that. I don't want that to happen. Maybe, let's take a time out. Let's go breathe and come back. Try some different tools that are specifically applicable to you because you've watched your cycle and you know what works and what doesn't work. And I just want to point out that as you're watching your video, your critic inside your head is going to be so loud. And so don't forget to notice the good that you're doing, the things that you're doing that you can be proud of for trying, because no one is perfect. So your video will be full of your mistakes. Yay, love that for all of us. But notice the times when your tone did soften. Notice the times when you wanted to interrupt, but you didn't. Notice the times when you really reflected back to them what they said and gave them space to talk. In all honesty, this has been the #1 tool that has helped me improve as a therapist. With the proper consents, of course, we film sessions. We film our therapy sessions and watch them under supervision in consultation groups. And all the years in my master's program, taking classes, taking courses, reading textbooks, studying things online, the #1 thing that has helped me improve has been watching my work or the live work of someone else, seeing it in action, and getting that sounding board to bounce ideas off, to reflect what happened, what could have been different, the good, the bad. And I'll be honest, most of the critique comes from me. My supervisors know that the most important thing in approaching videos with me is to be able to help me see the good, because my critic is already super loud saying, "Ooh, you shouldn't have done that. You should have done this instead. Look at that. Look at this. You suck." And so for them to help guide me down the path of what did you do that was good, they really do play such a crucial role in helping me to see the good I'm doing, so that I don't give up, so that I don't throw in the towel. This work is too hard. I suck. What's the point? They help me to point out the good so that I can keep trying to do that more, and then make a little adjustments here or there for the other things. And already just re-experiencing it is so helpful, because in the therapy room, especially when I'm meeting with a family of, 7 or more people, which is crazy, but there's no way you can take in all that information. And so rewatching that video once, even 3 times, every time you're going to pick up on something new that you didn't notice before, a different dynamic, a different piece of information. And as you're watching these videos, really try to be scientific about it, right? Don't get too in your head like, "Ooh, I look bad in that outfit," or "Ooh, like this is embarrassing," or "I'm starting to get mad all over again." Really try to put on that scientific hat. I'm observing this for information, going down a checklist. What was my tone of voice? How was their response? What was my body language like? And then you'll come away with a little bit more awareness and insight into that problem, so you can try it out in the next interaction, the next time that you start to sense things getting heated. Oh no, here we go. Okay, last time I was too sucked up in the moment, or I cut them off a lot. This time I'm gonna do a little better. And I'm filming myself still, so I'm still being watched, I'm still being observed. Already some of those self-correcting tendencies will come out to play when you are filming and then watching that film. So no matter where you are in your journey, I hope you will find this helpful as a first step before you are able to go to therapy. And of course, please find the therapist that fits for you and your family, financially, personality-wise. Just make sure you click with them and it works with your budget. But if you're not in a position for that right now, I get it. And so hopefully this tool will be so instrumental in helping you resolve some of those problems that are already creeping up in your relationships, just to gain more awareness and get unstuck without paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars towards therapy. But if you are able to do that, very jealous of you. Stay tuned for further tips, tricks, and things you can put into action to immediately improve your relationships with your spouse, with your kids, and with everyone else around you. And I'll catch you in the next video.